Wander Wealthy Podcast, episode 231. Oh, hi there. Welcome back to another episode of the Wander Wealthy Podcast. My name is Tess Wicks. I am the host of this show, founder of Wander Wealthy, and financial coach turned business coach for my fellow financial coaches, wealth coaches, and money coaches of the world. Whether you're brand new, aspiring to be one, or you're seasoned and you're looking for some tips and tricks around how to build a more sustainable and scalable business and also do the same and simplify your marketing efforts and sell with so much more ease, then this is the place for you. And today, we have a fun episode. You're probably very curious seeing the title. We're going to talk about how to create 180 content ideas in a weekend. So content is super important when it comes to marketing your business, when it comes to marketing your program and your offering. It is super important to be able to communicate not only the value of what it is you have to offer, but also help people connect and resonate with what it is that you want to help them with and how you're going to help them maybe overcome some of their obstacles and ultimately reach their goals. And you do that through content. Now, most people will know that it's important to be on social media and to create content, but they'll have no content strategy at all. So they'll look around at other people's accounts and just try to emulate that, which really bogs us down. It really gets us kind of into a rut. And like I said, without a content strategy, it ultimately makes you then sound like everybody else. So how can you stand out, but then how can you also predictably resonate with your ideal clients and convert them from total strangers into paying clients? Well, that's where content comes in. Now, something a lot of people don't know about me is that before I started my financial coaching business, and really what it was a financial podcast, you're listening to it right now, it's just evolved quite a bit, I actually was in content marketing. Content marketing for me was a little bit of a bridge job between being an actuary. That's, what I went to school for, and how I, worked through the corporate world was as a consulting actuary. And so it was really a bridge job between being an actuary and then becoming an entrepreneur. So I worked for a content marketing agency, and I really got a crash course in understanding the world of online content and how to connect and convert with ideal clients utilizing all the different platforms and formats that you can create content. So I have experience in blogging, in video creation, in podcasting, as well as, every single social media platform. And I understand the power and how to leverage each of them. But I think the most important thing, especially for a small business owner, is actually not to try to be everywhere. So that's the first thing I want you to remember before you dive into creating 180 different content ideas to then be published across probably 180 different potential platforms you could literally be on, because that's a huge time suck and it really gets you into analysis paralysis and just, feeling like you need to be everywhere when in fact, you only need to find the one platform where your ideal clients are hanging out on and then focus on creating the content that they like to consume on that platform and then create that content specifically for them. So find the platform first and foremost, identify that, and then what I want you to do is identify the format that works best on the platform and that your ideal clients are most likely consuming on that platform. So just a little kind of side note, something that we've heard recently is the CEO of Instagram came out and mentioned that they are really looking to basically become a video platform versus what they originated as was a photo platform. Now, obviously, I think everyone knows secretly, but no one's saying it. They're trying to compete with TikTok. Okay, everyone is saying it except for Instagram. They're trying to compete with TikTok. So they're really focused on video creation, probably pushing reels, but also stories and then IGTV and IG Live and really leveraging that. Now, that doesn't mean that the static posts are going to go away, but they're just going to be given, I think, less, I guess, viral boosts, if you will. So does that mean that you have to completely, if you are choosing Instagram as your platform, but you don't want to create video, I would say you don't have to necessarily create video, but really pay attention to what your ideal clients are consuming and then create that, because there still is always a space for certain types of content and the people who are consuming them. With that said, you can create your 180 content ideas the way that I'm going to share it with you, and then you can use them in all the different types of content formats that exist. So again, if you do have a podcast as opposed to creating a video or creating a static Instagram or Facebook post, you can use these content ideas and create podcasts behind them too. Like this works for anyone. So what is it that you are going to do, and how do we get to 180 content ideas? Well, first and foremost, I think what's really important for you is to determine your content pillars. These are the topics that you repeatedly talk about, and most likely they're topics that relate to what it is that you offer, right? The solution that you provide to your ideal clients. So some ideas of content pillars, and if I can just share the content pillars from my past when I used to be a full-time money coach, my content pillars were mostly cash flow, mindset, and then focused on investing. So I was really, wanting to work with people, and I knew my ideal client was much more focused on investing rather than paying off debt. Debt could be another good content pillar, and you could get more specific around the type of debt. But I knew that my ideal client was much more focused on investing and usually around retirement investing. So that was the key content pillar for me. I want to talk about cash flow, aka budgeting, because that's, tried and true, something that's very important to discuss. And of course, money mindset was always playing a big role for me as well. So I had 3 content pillars, but I actually suggest, if you can have 4, go for it, have 4. Your 4th content pillar could also not necessarily be about your solution per se, but more about the ideal client that you focus on. So maybe if your ideal clients are single moms, you could talk about single motherhood and the impact with managing your finances as a single mom. And so that can be a content pillar in and of itself on top of, let's say, the cash flow, investing, and the money mindset. Now, once you have your 4 content pillars, that can really guide the topics that you're going to be talking about. From there, what I think is really important is to determine that the types of content that you create can create different types of emotions in your ideal clients, in the people that you are trying to communicate with. So what we look at is the different fears, pains, and goals that your ideal clients have around said content pillar. So you can go through each of your content pillars and really tap into your ideal client. If you've never done market research or even just interviewed one of your ideal clients and really asked them questions about their frustrations and their struggles and their goals and, what keeps them up at night, but what they want most, really ask them that, really find out and uncover what's going on, what their internal dialogue is, and how they're kind of moving about and experience the world. And obviously, if you're focused on money, how money plays a role in that. I think that that's some of the most insightful things that you can do, even if you are an evolved version of your ideal client. If that's the case, if you are an evolved version of your ideal client, you might be able to tap into, where you were 3 years ago or 5 years ago or however long it was ago. It could be last year even. You might be able to tap into those thoughts and those emotions, those internal dialogues, the fears, the pain points, the goals. But sometimes we evolve and then we forget what we know because it becomes so subconscious, it becomes so natural. So that's why I also invite you to actually go out and talk to your ideal client so you can uncover what these fears, pains, and goals are. But once you have that, you can start to generate those just words, those kind of, they're not even topics quite yet, but they're touch points, right? So, okay, what is a fear or a pain or a goal that someone has that money mindset would really be a solution to? What is a fear, pain, or goal that someone has that cash flow and working on their cash flow would be a solution to? Going another way, you can also identify what is the fear, pain, or goal that they have with that solution, right? So with budgeting, what is something that they've really struggled with or that really frustrates them with budgeting? What is a fear, pain, or goal when it comes to investing? And then the same for if you have that 4th content pillar. And let me just be clear, you do not need to use my content pillars. If you want to, go right ahead, but I definitely suggest coming up with your own. And it really should relate to what it is that you want to basically talk about over and over again, because that's the key to great content marketing, is becoming top of mind awareness in your space so that people know when they hear about single moms who want to invest, they think about you. Okay. So we're going to talk about these things over and over again, but we're going to talk about them from different angles, which is why we bring the fears, pains, and goals into place. Because, if you talk just about fears or just about pain points, you're really sticking in the negative, right? If you talk about goals, you're really going into the visionary, into the positive, into the forward thinking. And so we want to balance that out so that we have a little bit of a mix, because everyone resonates with something different. Some people are really kind of fear driven, and some people are really goal driven. And so we want to make sure that we're touching on everything, because we can be a solution for our specific ideal clients, no matter where they are coming to us from. All right. So once you have fears, pains, and goals for your different content pillars, and what I actually suggest is trying to come up with 5 fears, 5 pains, and 5 goals for each of your content pillars. So that gets you, what is that? 5 times 3 times 4, 60 just kind of points, 60 different fears, pains, and goals. But what you can do is then you can take all of those suggestions and start to turn them into content prompts or ideas, right? So now that we have 60 different fears, pains, and goals, which I would suggest sit down for an hour and come up with your 60, then you can take those and you can start to build out your content ideas. And I actually suggest building out content ideas with using different phases of the buyer's journey. So this is something that I teach inside of the client attraction content matrix. I walk you through the buyer's journey and help you understand the point of the buyer's journey, the goals within each of the phases of the buyer's journey, and ultimately what types of content you should really be creating for each phase of the buyer's journey. Now, the 3 phases that I'm discussing are the awareness, consideration, and the decision style phase. And there's very different types of content that you should be sharing depending on which phase you want to be sharing it within. Now, the reason why we create these different types of content given the different phases of the buyer's journey is because think about your audience and think about who has just started to follow you versus who has been following you for a long time versus who's ready to buy, but they just need to hear about your program, right? So you can actually create different types of content for each of those fears, pains, and goals within each of those content pillars that lead and really connect with people in their different phases of the buyer's journey. So here is the coolest part. Once you take your 60 different pains, fears, and goals that fall within your content pillars, you can then take that and overlap that across the buyer's journey. And when you do that, you take 60, you multiply it by 3, and you get 180 different content ideas. Now, I know just hearing me talk through this, it feels daunting. It feels like, how could I ever come up with this? How am I ever supposed to think up of 60 different pains, fears, and goals? But when you have a system and when you have an investment in a curriculum that really walks you through it, it makes this process so much easier. And you can literally create 180 different content ideas in a weekend. Are you up for the challenge? Because here's what I have to offer for you. So I created the client attraction content matrix to help you come up with content ideas and, take it the extra step and create content prompts for you so that you can attract clients, so that you can take them through the buyer's journey and get paying clients at the end of it. The content matrix is a mini course that introduces you to the buyer's journey and helps you understand the purpose and the structure behind content marketing and a content strategy. And it is also my content matrix, which is my proprietary tool that I offer to Wealthy Coach Blueprint members and that I personally use in my business to actually create content and build out a content calendar that makes my life so much easier. It helps me maintain consistency. It helps me make sure that I'm creating content that resonates with my clients depending on their different place in the buyer's journey, or potential clients, I should say. And it really helps me convert those clients. So if this is something that you want to get your hands on so you can create 180 different content ideas in just a weekend, then head to wanderwealthy.com/content, because you're going to be able to learn all about what it entails and get the content matrix, which will be a tool that you will use most likely for the rest of your business life, for under $300. So it is a game-changing tool. And when you actually learn the strategy behind content marketing, utilizing the buyer's journey and creating content within your content pillars and the fears and pains and goals of your clients, it will change the game for you and your business. So wanderwealthy.com/content to jump on this and get the client attraction content matrix. I cannot wait to hear about all the content that you're creating and those ideas. And we have a lot of really great exclusive bonuses that we're offering if you do purchase the content matrix. So check it out, wanderwealthy.com/content. And that's it for today. I know it's a short and sweet one, but I just had to tell you about the content matrix. It could literally make your summer and the rest of your year so much easier, and actually put some strategy behind the content you're creating, because your marketing is kind of your first entry point for a lot of your ideal clients to what it is that you have to offer and who it is that you are and how they can connect and want to ultimately work with you. So wanderwealthy.com/content, and I will see you next time. Until then, I hope you wander wealthy.